Greens or Benny Reese West. Going to have a look at silver in this video. Been a pretty good week for silver. Some connotations about where it's gotten to, how it's performed, and what can we expect into next week. So let's just start off by having a quick brush over the US dollar. So you might remember last week, we'll just look at the US dollar because it's got some background connotations for the price of the precious metals, because of course that's what they're priced against. So any weakness in the US dollar will obviously be not a guarantee of support for price, but certainly helpful. So I like to always keep an eye on what the US dollar is doing whenever I'm trading something that's priced against the US dollar. And this is what we looked at last week, where this swing went for 17 bars, dropped 2.5%. So this down move so far, I'm not sure this is the end of it, but so far we're 18 bars in, right? So we're going a little bit more time than this, but we haven't fallen quite as far as I would like. I want to see it sort of back down here. So far so good. And what we've got here so far in the US dollar, or the DXY, this is the dollar index, right? The proxy. So what we can see up close is, just as we've shied away from this area, what we've got here is the nice measured move setup where we just tapped 61.8 and we're just coming back down. So the measured move target for that would bring it right down into that sort of zone we were looking at before, as being possibly where the US dollar might sort of head to in the near term. And that, of course, would be, in my views, supportive of price for the precious metals. Not a guarantee they're going to rally, but certainly that the more chance of rallying with the US dollar falling when the US dollar going up, right? So that would, I don't want to get into the macro ins and outs of it because I'm not doing macro videos that don't really hit a chord with people, but this weakness of the US dollar is certainly going to help sustain price, or sustain the price rises that we've seen this week. So with that being said, we'll have a look at silver itself. So a couple of interesting things happen here. Good trading folklore. I think this is how it's set up. So this is the point we were at last week when I finished the video, and I was like, don't buy this market. It's in a downtrend, but we've now gone into a range. We're just looking for this to sort of peter out and be less than that. Okay, so I'm just in sort of bar replay here, and as we kind of start to step forward, just bring this on. As we kind of start to step, let's just get rid of that. As we kind of start to step forward, you can see now, we had this trading range. So once we, trends terminate into a trading range, and you can see here now we've repainted. So this, even though this is what we're talking about, even though this was longer in duration than this one, it only fell 6.24% to this one 7.93%. So it would suggest that the power's running out a little bit there. And coupled with that, you can see now that we're on a 4-hour here, so this isn't always, but the momentum is starting to trend higher in terms of the RSI. So we're starting to diverge, at the bottoms here. Okay, so this is a sign. Okay, and now we're stuck into this. We're starting to attack the top of this range. So as we keep stepping forward, and the other thing too, of course, you'll notice is, look, we've got a strong bar that's broken the back of the downtrend. It's not an exact downtrend line, but that is the best bar through that trend line that we've seen. Okay, so at this point you're on red alert, because we know that this would act as an area of resistance. But if we get through this, as we keep stepping on, as we did, okay, now you're thinking, okay, well look, now we've got some sort of move happening, right? The downtrend's done. Okay, so I'm now free to look to buy this market again. Okay, now there's one other thing here that I would probably, keeping in mind that the major retracements, but the next thing I'd be looking at is I'm framing up the trading range here and thinking about range expansion, and 100% lines up into the 50%. So that would be the first sort of thing I'm looking at, and obviously here too, that would be also a point of interest. But we're a fair way away from that. At this point, I'm still thinking about the entry. So what do I want to see? Well, let's just carry on here. Okay, and as we move away, what do we get? We get a test back into that range. Okay, so just missed the wick on it there. But you can see that what I'm talking about is that the move up, and then the subsequent correction that's come back, and it hasn't quite got it. It might just do it if we just step on a little bit further. But what I'm saying now is that at this point, you're starting to think, okay, well, I think I've got a long trade here. Okay, so as we step on, what happens? We go up, and where's the first reaction? Well, it just busts straight through. But what we get here to this 61.8, okay, and this is where we start to pause. All right, but I think basically what I'm trying to say is that once we sort of made these tops, that the break of that, okay, the break of that after we retested the zone here, we didn't. The range did expand quite quickly, but we didn't really pause there. Actually, I think if you went even down to an hourly, you'll find that, yeah. So if you go down to an hourly, you can see there's the first reaction, okay, because we'll even take it down to a half hourly. Okay, as we got to the 100% of this range, we had this big selling bar back down. Okay, but it's it's only apparent here on the 30 minutes. So we take it out to the 4 hour. We'll just get rid of that, even though we've got the 200 up here as well, which is something that's got to be thought of. Okay, but the point being is that, and if you just expand that out a little bit, if you just encapsulate that, okay, you can just see this wick sort of, it didn't quite test it, but it's the general idea, okay, that we broke the range, we came back and tested it, and then we extended on, okay. So that becomes your trigger, okay, and that would become your stop below there, okay, and then what have you got? You got a nice move going on here, okay. So even though I said I wouldn't buy it, I did actually buy some silver this week. This is where I took profit on part of it, and I've still got some, but I'm starting to remain wary. Okay, so that's just a little bit of how you would structure the trade up, okay. But what we've got to consider now, okay, as we step back through, and that's it, right? So we're here now on the hard right edge. But what we've got to consider now is what can we see, how is this structured, and what do we think moving forward from here? Well, it's probably not surprising that we busted this 61.8, which is great. That's a good sign, but it's not surprising that now we've run into this, and this is where it might pause. Okay, so at this point I'm thinking, okay, well, what can I see here? How's this rally structured? What can I think, or what do I think might be the next most likely movement for silver from here? Now, whenever I see a big rip like this, I'm always thinking, okay, there's probably almost certainly some psychology involved here. If there's some psychology involved, can I go to an Elliott pattern that makes sense to me, that can help me sort of make my next decision? And before you roll your eyes, I don't lean into Elliott super duper hard, but I use the theory as the market is structured on the short term. So even though I think that the theory is best applied to stock indexes, you can still see psychological progression. So what I would see here is a move up, okay, a sharp move off the low, followed by a sharp move back, okay, but then an extended move, okay. So at this point, to me, I'd be thinking this, right? I'd be thinking, okay, this looks like some sort of one wave, a two wave, a three wave, four wave, and this kind of looks like it's a good chance to be the top of five waves. That's how I would look at that. Okay, and it does work out. If you take the length of sort of 1 off 2, 3 gets up here to the 161.8, that'll sort of make sense. 5 of it is extended, so we've got an extended fifth wave. So one of the ways we'd quantify that is to put the 61.8% retracement on the bottom of wave 4. Look for wave 5 to top out here, which it kind of did. It's not exact. Don't expect exactness. But I'm not going to go into the Elliott, but there's a lot of things that would suggest, okay, well, that looks like a good case for 5 waves up. And then, of course, we'd run hot here on the RSI. And when we bring in the Keltner channels, we're free barring outside the Keltner channel. So all those things combined for me meant that I'm pretty happy to take a fair bit of money off the table here and take the profit off the break of this range that we had, okay? So, I mean, I didn't actually wait for the retest. I actually bought the break of the range, which is a little bit dangerous, but that's just me. I just did it for me. And, look, I'm not filling the speedboat or anything with the profit because, A, I don't own a speedboat, and B, it wasn't much profit. I didn't do that big a position. As a side note, you won't really ever hear me talk about my trades because I don't think it's relevant what I'm actually trading. I'm just trying to present a view. What I do is my business. It should have no bearing on what you do, and you will certainly never hear me bragging humbly about my Lamborghini collection, which is non-existent. So just be careful of people on social media, any platform that post their trades brag about their trades, brag about their profits, they're probably not worth listening to. Okay, look, that aside, now it kind of goes a little bit in the face of what I was saying, because I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm looking for the US dollar to keep weakening. But like I said, just because the US dollar weakens doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to go up. Now, this has been a mighty run. So, gold and stuff like that has lagged a bit. So potentially, people are going to look to take money off the table here at what makes sense to me as good levels. But what I would be thinking from here, because I would just use that Elliott progression, and I'm thinking we'll see how it pans out, of course. Just let me fix that. I'd be thinking that the most likely path for price would be something like that, okay, to come back down. And you can see how nicely that just lines up, right? Because then all of a sudden, what have you got? You've got classic old resistance becoming new support. Okay, it's just trading law 101. It happens all the time, and the fact that it all lines up there just means that there is not a guarantee that this is a good buy level, but it's just puts the odds in your favour a little bit. And then you've got to, for me, I would probably be looking to put my stop not exactly at $27, but somewhere below there to try and look for, at the very least, the measured move target. Okay, so somewhere back up here. At the very least, I'd probably just look to take some off the table there. But in the same regards, if I've got my Elliott hat on, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is one, and this is a corrective wave. I'd be expecting another extended corrective wave. That would take us. Sorry, not a corrective wave. Another extended wave in an impulse that would take us through the recent top. That would be what I'd expect. But that remains to be seen. I will not anticipate that. I will just do what the market does. This is just my trading plan, okay? What could happen is the market could just keep going next week. I don't know. But that is just the plan that I would lay, okay? So, what are we talking here? 27.40, 27.70. That's the zone. That's the next zone I'm interested in, okay? I've still got some small amount of long, which I'll hold on to. But like I said, I've taken most of the profit, and I think I am stopping out somewhere below here for the moment. But if we retrace back down like this, I'll just add. But that's just me. You've got to do what's right for you. But that's how I would play this, okay? I don't think there's anything more to add to this other than just be wary, of course, that we've run hot, okay, on this RSI. We've run hot up here. There's a chance we might get another high and diverge, and in which case, sort of maybe it breaks down the idea of 5 waves a little bit. But if we got another high from here, like if next week we started doing this, right, and then what happened then is that the RSI didn't quite follow suit, well, then I'd probably be thinking about getting rid of all my position and thinking about where do I play the next retracement level. That is how I would approach it. But you just approach it however is right for you. But you can even put the trend onto the RSI at this stage, and if you break that, the momentum's running out. So I would expect that that's what's going to happen early next week. I think this is going to probably head back down here in some way, shape or form. That would be my anticipation. And so this is kind of backed up a little bit by the Global X Silver Miners ETF, and I'm just a little bit wary here because this is almost looks like fake break territory to me. The way that this has diverged, okay, and the way that this has just been in this good range, it's just poked its head above and it's just failed for now. Look, next week, maybe we do that, but as it sits just here and now on the close, that is just looks like a fake breakout to me. That just looks like it's ready to come back down. And if it does, maybe that plays into that idea of that retracement in silver. But you can just see that the level that we're failing at here, and you can see because it's not a nothing level, right? We've pushed here a couple of times and we've broken through. Let's just have a look at that on a short term there. Okay, so we broke above, and we might have to go to a 30-minute to see how it's rallied up, and then we've broken back down and it's rejected away very quickly. Okay, so pardon me, that's better. Sorry. So yeah, this is a little bit of a concern, the way that this is behaving. There'd be people, almost certainly people trapped into the breakout zone there. So there'd be trapped longs as they tried to bust the zone. So as long as this, I mean, the chances are this will head back down, I think, because if they're trapped there and the market doesn't respond, they're going to be looking for the exit, I would suggest, if they haven't already. So that's kind of where we sit there. So that might play into the idea of the retracement in the silver market, and then I will just simply observe and see what happens there, and hopefully it provides another trade, and if it doesn't, that's all right. We just move on to the next one. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. See you next week. Bye for now.